Welcome to episode 461 of Get Paid for Your Pad. And today I am talking to what I would say is the short-term rental king of Aruba, Mr. Alex Cybul. He's the owner of vacationaruba.com, which is an awesome domain. And he manages over 100 villas on that beautiful tropical island. So Alex, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for the invitation, Jasper. It's a true pleasure to be here and share a little knowledge of myself and experience with other people.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm excited to learn more. I don't know that much about your business yet. Actually, you recently joined our community. You became a member of the STR Legends Mastermind, and I guess we'll be hanging out in June at our in Mexico on our first event. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, give us some background. First of all, let's start with Aruba. Like, some people might not know exactly where that is. Can you tell us a little bit about that island?
Yeah, of course. So Aruba is a very special island. It's the southmost island in the Caribbean. It's only about 20 kilometers north of Venezuela. That makes us one of the few islands that's not in the hurricane belt. So we don't have a hurricane season. We haven't had a hurricane in over, 35, 40 years. And that makes it an island that a lot of people want to visit because they can program and they don't have that fear of a hurricane during their vacation. It's also one of the safest islands in the Caribbean. It's very well developed. We have huge hotel chains. Marriott has 5 hotels here. They're building a St. Regis. I think we were the first island having a Ritz-Carlton. So it's an island that depends 100% on tourism. It has amazing beaches, amazing restaurants for the size of the island. And it's only 100 square miles. So it's a small island, very well developed, very well thought and planned for. And you're more than welcome to come here.
Yeah, no, I actually visited just over a year ago. I celebrated New Year's in Aruba, and that was my first time. Which is kind of interesting because I'm from the Netherlands, and technically Aruba is part of the Netherlands, right? It's a special region of the Netherlands. I don't know exactly how they structured it, but there's a lot of Dutch people there, right?
Yeah, there's not as many as in Curacao and Bonaire and St. Martin because Aruba, for some reason, has brought in a lot of South American immigrants, so the culture is a lot broader. But yeah, I mean, we're still part of the Dutch Kingdom. We're proud of it because the Dutch Kingdom's always there for us. When necessary, during COVID, it was a great help. But yeah, we have a nice mix of cultures. A high percentage of our tourism is from North America, especially the Northeast, Canada, and Dutch. So we have a little bit of everything, and that makes Aruba even more unique.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I noticed, man. When I was in Aruba, I was like, wow, this is such a interesting mix of cultures. Like, on the one hand, I would walk into a supermarket and I would see like products that you can normally only buy in Holland, right? And so
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, you can get this stuff here. And a lot of people speak Dutch, but then there's a lot of Americans on the island.
Yeah.
I was actually staying with an American who was Robert Nunez. So shout out to him. I don't know if have you heard of him? Are you familiar with him? He was on the podcast. Like, he's on the north of the island. He does like a co-living type of place up there. But yeah, he's really cool, and he's from the US. And but there's so many people from Latin America as well, right? So
Yeah.
it's just so funny. Like, every time I walked into a restaurant, I was like, should I speak Dutch, English, or Spanish? Like, you never know what the waiter is gonna speak to you.
Yeah, and that's really special because most people or almost everyone here speaks at least English, Spanish, Papiamento, and Dutch. Most people speak Dutch. I mean, I didn't go to the public school here, but most people know 4 languages, and that's a very, very unique and culture-filled thing because it's not common.
Yeah, especially for a small island like that. And just for the listeners, Papiamento is a local language that they only speak it on the Caribbean islands in Aruba and Curacao, and they don't really speak
Bonaire.
anywhere else, right?
No.
It's a funny mix between like Portuguese and Spanish and English and
Dutch.
Dutch as well. Yeah.
I think it started off with a way of communication between the Indians back in the day, the slaves and the Europeans. So that mix of people translated into what's called paviamento.
Yeah. Where are you from, by the way?
So my dad's Polish. He left Poland before World War II. So my dad's 93. And my mom's from Colombia, from Barranquilla. And I've grown up here. So I really do feel myself as an Aruban. I'm proud of being from here, but I'm a little bit like Chinese fried rice.
You're like a really interesting mix.
Yeah, I was born in Miami. So Miami,
Okay.
Poland, Colombia, and lived all my life in Aruba.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Cool, man. Well, let's talk about your short-term rentals because you've got over 100 villas. Again, you have a really strong brand with vacationaruba.com. How did you get into renting out on Airbnb and renting out short-term rentals?
So my whole life I worked managing family businesses, and one of our managers in a furniture store we have in Aruba called Crown had bought a house, and he divided it into two, and he told me, oh, I was gonna rent it long term, but I think I'm gonna try renting on Airbnb. I'm like, oh, what's Airbnb? Oh no, it's he started explaining to me about the short term rental. This is only about 6 years ago or 7 years ago. I'm like, interesting. Then next to my house, about five homes away on a main road, I saw a house for sale in a public auction. I said, this looks like a pretty good investment. I went to the auction. I bought a piece of property. It's 400 square meters of construction, so it's a big home. And I said, this is too big. Let's split it into three-bedroom apartments. So I split into three-bedroom apartments. And my friend told me, hey, why don't you try renting it like I do? Because I get a lot more money than if you rented it long term. So that property started doing really well. Within 4 months, I kicked out a long-term rentee I had, fixed that house nicely and made it a short-term, and then started organizing it a little bit more. And I would be constantly booking, very well, busy, good reviews. And a family building of ours, which had 19 apartments, went on fire. And my dad told me, Alex, I'm too tired to deal with this. I'm 90 years old, or 88 at the time. I'll gift you the building, but I don't want any headaches. So I got some finance, fixed up 19 apartments. It's practically a small hotel. It's also on Expedia, on Booking, and set it up. And that started doing really well. And then suddenly some friends would tell me, hey, how come yours are renting and mine's not? I told him, I can teach you how to do it. He's like, no, I don't want the headache. Dealing with guests every day is too much trouble for me. Okay. How much do they how much can you charge me commission? I'm like, no idea. Let's see whatever any other company charges, and I'll do the same. And then that added up one more. Then, it started getting really hectic when I got to 40 properties, between the 20 apartments and the 4 others I had that were my personal. And I started adding more people into the team. And with COVID, I think it was the best. I mean, it's very sad what happened, and I know a lot of people lost their jobs, but it was a perfect opportunity for whatever person is not happy with their property manager to say, hey, this is the perfect time for divorce. There's no bookings in the next year. Everything's canceled. So I got a lot of people who are unhappy with their current property manager, changed and moved with me. And I was taking pictures. I'm still taking, actually this week we took 4 property pictures. So we're still adding on a lot, but I started adding more and more and more and more and more. And it just, luckily everything's gone well. I've tried to set up as best as possible. Between COVID, I think we went from about 50 to 60 to about 90 or 100 within a year. And right now we're at 120, and I get calls every day. We have 4 or 5 homes being renovated right now. And it's constantly growing.
Wow, that's amazing, man. It's so interesting to hear that, 6, 7 years ago, you had no experience with Airbnb, and now you're managing like over 100 units. That's just crazy. It's just crazy to me how fast these businesses have been built in the last and since Airbnb came along. And
Yeah, you
also,
know, there's a lot of information and knowledge out there. You guys are great help because you guys teach, you inform, and having the will to grow, having the will to do things well, and with the opportunity of all the information there is online, I mean, there's if you really want it, there's a lot so you can get ahead and go forward with your business.
yeah, for sure. Um, what does your current team look like to manage all those units?
So I'm short staffed. I'll start right now. I'll start with that. But right now we have one full-time concierge, and we get kickbacks from all the car rentals, the tours, the activities, chefs, masseurs, anything that we recommend, we get kickbacks. So that's our first person. Then I have two people who are guest relations. All they do all day is check in on guests, make sure, hey Jasper, everything all right? Do you need anything? Can we make your trip more enjoyable? And they're practically chatting all day with guests. And then we have a team of about 12 cleaners. I have one office representative that she's the person in charge if there's any complaints to coordinate with maintenance and with the cleaners. So we have 10 cleaners, 2 maintenance guys, and me.
And you are the pretty much the general manager of the whole business.
Yeah, yeah. I'm in the process of getting somebody to help me with the operations, the day to day, to avoid all the headaches. And the truth is, I get calls for new properties all the time, and it's time consuming. And I think I could improve the process of onboarding properties if I had the time.
Yeah, sounds like that's what you need, like a general manager to get you out of the day to day, so you can fully focus on the higher level stuff.
Exactly. I
um,
hired a full time. I had outsourced the accounting, and the accountant it's a. I'm gonna hire a full time accountant. She starts at the end of the month, so we're very excited about that.
yeah. So you said you have two guest relationship managers. Do they check people in person?
So COVID was the perfect timing for that change. We were doing all the check-ins personally, but it gets really really difficult, especially with people they would land, but you don't know if maybe they have issues in the car rental, if they went to the supermarket, they went to have lunch, and then I would have somebody waiting 2 or 3 hours. So wherever it was possible, I started putting smart locks, I started putting lock boxes. Then I would have the excuse, oh, but with COVID, people don't want to meet each other, so even better. But what I would do is, we would calculate the time of arrival, send them a message. Hey, Jasper, I know you must have checked in already. Just want to make sure if you found everything as you expected. We do have some automated messages that do the same, but when the guest relations, most of the time they add people on WhatsApp, so it's very personal. It's very, we want to make sure that people have the freedom or the opportunity that if there's anything wrong, let us know. Let's find a way to improve it right away. And things do go wrong. I mean, not everything's perfect, but it's more about the reaction of making sure you get whatever didn't go right or perfect from the beginning. The reaction can make up way better than if everything was perfect.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's something that I've learned as well over time. Is the way that you respond to a situation is it has a bigger impact than what's actually happening, right? Um, so let me ask you this: what is one thing, if you were to go back 6 years in time, and what is one thing that you would have done differently?
For sure. I would have, if I knew I was going to grow this quickly, I would have brought a real operations manager from the start so that he grows into the company. It's a lot harder to bring somebody else in and tell them, oh no, I do things this way because I feel, I can bring, I don't know, a manager of a hotel, but they come with all the thought process of the hotel, and that's probably not the same thought process I have. So, trying to bring somebody in to learn my way is a lot harder than if somebody would have come early on and organized everything a little more from the start.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Do you have most of what you do documented in
I know,
systems?
but I know where you're going, and yeah, I have to work on trying to get everything documented. I heard you speaking about it not too long ago with Eric, and I started, but I need to get really informed with writing everything down.
Yeah. Yeah, because I can imagine if you get somebody, once you're at that stage of over 100 units and you get somebody to take over the day to day, and you have to kind of transfer all that information from your brain to that person, that's a major project.
Major. I mean, it's so time consuming, and I've brought some people in that have had high management jobs, and they tell me, Alex, what you do is not normal. I mean, it's impossible to manage things the way you've managed. And the truth is, I don't feel overwhelmed, like crazy overwhelmed, like they make it sound. But it would have been a lot easier if there was a way to give them a piece of paper or a presentation and tell them, this is the way, or this is how we do it, or so yeah, it's a process. A lot I can easily complain about it, but I've been blessed. I've been lucky to be in this position. Thousands of people would sign themselves up to be where I am. With the stability, with the freedom. So I just have to deal with it and try to find the best solution possible.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's definitely a luxury problem, and that's interesting too, is to realize that as your business grows, like you're always gonna have challenges. It's just like it's almost like you get better challenges, right? It's like you get the challenges that you want to have.
Yeah, it's a pain. Nobody likes having to deal with issues, but I rather have these issues than others. So I think I'm blessed, and I have to appreciate it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I love that mindset of just being grateful for that. Um, what's your end goal?
I get that question all the time, and I haven't found an answer to it because people tell me, "Okay, Alex, how much more do you want to grow?" And the truth is, I don't know. I think if I manage to set up this in a way where I can I like doing check-ins. I like talking to guests, but I like doing these things whenever I want to and not when I need to. So I want to be in a place where I have the stability. I can do these things as a hobby. I can visit guests, owners, have a chat. Um, I don't know how big this can become. It's grown and it's continuing to grow so quickly that I think I'm already in a snowball that's going down, and I have to just wait and see. um, I think there's a lot of opportunity here on the island. The island it's a great tourist destination. I don't know. I'll try to grow as long as it still makes me satisfied and happy. Up to
Yeah.
now, it doesn't seem to stop.
Go with the flow.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. What are some of the biggest challenges that you encountered as you were growing your business? So from 0 to like 20 to 50, what were some of those inflection points where it's like, oh, now suddenly I'm facing a very different challenge than before?
You know, it's difficult, but one is, each owner, when you're managing somebody else's property, um, each owner thinks their house is like their child. Their house is like the special one, and there's an ego effect to it. So when managing many different properties, it's a little difficult because different owners want things in a very specific way. And the more you grow, the more you have to standardize everything to keep it simple for the operation to work properly. So the more requirements an owner has, they might see it something very small, but when you have to do it differently just for one out of 100, trying to please all the owners is probably one of the biggest difficulties. I think that's probably it. The second one is probably getting the players to be a team. it's not just everyone has to get along, and I think that's a problem in general with when you have many employees. You start noticing that they don't want to be as friendly, or they don't want to be as helpful to each other as they should.
Yeah. How did you solve that problem or that challenge with the owners?
You know, I've been really honest. Sometimes I tell them, hey, I really can't do that. I have to manage so many properties. I need things to be somewhat standardized. The truth is, I rather be honest and not overpromise or tell them I'll do it and can't do it. The truth is, they have to see that this house is just another house for me. I know it's really special for them. I know it's a lot of money. It's a big investment they've put into creating this house. But sometimes those small details that they want really don't make a big effect in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to say each house is a hotel room, because it really isn't. Each house is unique. Each house has its charm, and I sell it that way. But we have to see what the big picture is, and what majority of the people look, and not try to guide ourselves based on exceptions.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Like setting clear expectations is quite important there. So let's talk about a little bit more about the team, because you're saying like, it's managing a team is difficult. It's a skill set. It's a new skill set that you kind of have to develop, right? When you're starting out, it's just you and maybe a couple cleaners. And now suddenly you have, what is it, like 15 people in your team?
Yeah, approximately,
Yeah.
without the outsource. But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, that isn't easy, and I'm actually living through a difficult situation with a couple of employees. But the truth is, there's a lot of people willing to work. There's a lot of good people out there. It's sad to say, but if somebody doesn't work, you have to just find somebody who does.
Yeah. What are some of the sort of learning lessons? Like, what are some things that you've learned through like being more of a leader of a team than being just this small operator?
That a lot of people underestimate the difficulties of having to deal with people. I mean, egos, proudness. Sometimes dealing with people is really the most difficult part. If I could, and that, owners. I wish I owned all the properties and managed all the properties, but it's not the case, and it's part of the game. If you wanna manage many properties, you're gonna have to deal with many owners. If you're gonna have to deal with many employees, you're gonna have to deal with many situations. uh, it's not perfect. So I wish it's just part of it. And you see it in all types of industries. It's not something that just happens in the vacation rental industry, or it's not just happen in the tourism industry. It's just
Hmm.
wherever there's groups that need to work together, there's going to be situations.
Yeah. What kind of business experience did you have before you started your short term rental business? Because you mentioned that you were working in some other family businesses.
So I managed 5 pawn shops. So it's a very different industry. So we manage 5 properties on the 5 pawn shops in the island. I still work as a consultant. I probably work about 1 or 2 hours a week with the pawn shop. I really appreciate, because I learned so much there, and I worked there for 15 years before I started the vacation rentals. But yeah, I mean, it's it's a different ball game, but at the same time, it's the same situations, the same trying to find the best or most efficient ways to do things. I remember in the beginning, people would tell me, "Oh no, I want to use my sheets because my sheets are more beautiful." And right now we use white sheets, my sheets everywhere. So I sell the sheets to the owners every year. Need to replace the new sheets, and everything's white. We do commercial laundry for everything. Cleaners don't have to wait on wash machines or dryers to finish the job at the homes, and that's taking off a big chunk of time, because it gets to the details that is it worth buying the small shampoos or getting dispensers? Is it worth having the commercial laundry? Is it worth having your own sheets? And we really have tried to become more and more efficient in finding the best ways to standardize, to keep it simple, and to make it work in the best way.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you don't do that, like it's very difficult to scale to over 100
Yeah,
units.
yeah, it's impossible. It's a coincidence, but sometimes I have chats with hotel managers. I'm actually going for dinner today with the GM of the Holiday Inn, which is a hotel that I think has about 900 rooms on the island. It's probably one of the biggest ones, and we have similar problems. Even I have 120 properties. If we average it out to 3 bedrooms a property, I have about 350 rooms right now.
Yeah, that's right. That's a pretty decent hotel, 350
Yeah,
rooms.
I used to make fun when I started with the commercial laundry. I would tell them, "Oh, here's your smallest customer," and now I say that they're like, "No, no, not anymore, not anymore." So I've been. Now they're proud of me. They say that I'm catching up to the big guys.
That's awesome. Um, you mentioned linen and how you buy the linen in bulk and then you sell them into the individual owner. Like where do you source the linen?
I'm buying out of Miami. Everything is imported on the island, so I was buying from TY Group. Um, right now, everyone's short of linen, so I've been looking at different options. I try to buy everything all 100% cotton. I do triple sheeting. Everything exactly the same everywhere. White is usually easy to get stains off. It's easier. It looks clean because white's a color that represents cleanliness. It looks organized and it's worked perfect. I think it's probably one of the best decisions I did. I have a linens room that's about 600 square feet. That's full up to the top when it's low. So it's a lot easier when cleaners come in with everything ready to make the beds, and they take all the dirty and just bring it to the main
Yeah.
office.
Yeah, for sure. Um, just out of curiosity, have you heard of a company called Host GPO?
No.
Because they're like a bulk how do you say that? Like a bulk buyer of products for the short-term rental industry. So the whole idea is like they have members and they can provide discounts because they're buying in bulk, right? You're putting 100 short-term rental managers together who then through host GPO buy like stuff at all these bigger stores, and that way you can get pretty big discounts because that's something where hotels have kind of an edge over in the hospitality industry. They're these big hotels, they can buy all this stuff like really cheaply because they're buying a lot of it, right? So I was just curious if you heard about that, but I don't know, it could be something for you to check out if you're having trouble sourcing like well priced linens.
Yeah, it's like a buying group.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool, man. Well, let's see what other questions I have for you. We've talked about quite a lot. Is there something that you think you think is really important to talk about that we haven't discussed yet?
I can't think of anything in particular, but there's a lot of things. The dynamic pricing's a big game changer. That's something I would recommend to anyone in the
Yeah.
business. There's there's softwares that have done this for years manually. We're never able to do the same job that these softwares do. Here in Aruba, everyone will always think, oh, it's long high season, peak season just for New Year's and Christmas, which is 3 or 4 times more expensive than the rest of the year, and then low season. But with this dynamic pricing and the revenue management systems, Memorials Week, President's Week, Labor Week, um, all these long weekends, we have very, very high demand, and we're losing out on a lot of money in revenue. And another thing is, there's a glass ceiling in the sense that, oh, if this house we rent it most of the year for 250, we can't rent it for more than 600, even in peak season. But that's, you tell yourself that, but you're not willing to put it at that price. Today I got actually a rental for New Year's this year, and I usually rent that house for $500. I rented for $1,900 for 6 days. So you're getting 4 times what I would have maybe asked. I might have asked a little more than 500, maybe 800 or 900, but I'm getting 4 times. So that one reservation paid off for the whole years of the revenue management system
Yeah,
and
yeah.
leftovers.
And yeah, no, I had the exact same experience. I started using dynamic pricing in 2014, and it was some of the prices that I was recommending. Like I felt almost a bit guilty
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
charging that much.
But at the end of the day, Aruba is a very, very high end market. Even the Holiday Inn during Christmas or New Year's is a $600 a night. So this is a 500. It's a 5-bedroom home. It really isn't that expensive. It's just we tell ourselves that it's too expensive, but a Ritz Carlton a night here can be $2,500.
Yeah.
So why not a 5-bedroom with a private pool?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, the end of the day, it's just demand, supply and demand, right? That
Yeah,
determines like what people are willing to pay. Um, so yeah, I mean, the best thing you can do as a business owner, and not even like it's almost like it's your responsibility as a business owner to act in favor, of the business, right?
yeah.
So it makes complete sense to just price your units what the market rate is, right? And those dynamic pricing algorithms, those companies that are in a much better place to figure out what that market rate is than us just looking at like on Airbnb. I remember back in 2012 when I started, I was like checking out some other apartments on Airbnb and just seeing like, okay, what are these people charging? Because I had no idea what to charge.
Yeah. And instead of thinking about how much I can charge, we would always think of, oh, but it's better than if I had it long term. And you really need to find what's the most I can get out of it, because we're all in this to make money. I mean, I enjoy doing it. I enjoy meeting guests. I enjoy renovating homes. But at the end of the day, it really is if we're gonna make money or not.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, this was super interesting to chat to you about this. Definitely like a really cool story. And for the listeners, if you've never been to Aruba, I can highly recommend it. I was there just over a year ago, as I said, and it's a beautiful, beautiful island. The beaches are amazing. It's a paradise, right? The crystal clear waters. Like I went
Yeah.
snorkeling just outside of the nearest beach. I just put on a snorkel, start snorkeling, and within a couple minutes, I ran into some turtles, and you can see them really well because the water is so clear, and it's a cool,
I live
it's a
very
cool
close
island.
to where you were.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's in Trestrapi. So that's really close by. And yeah, I mean, the water there is perfect. I swim during the week, sometimes in the morning, and almost always get to catch the turtles. So that's fun.
yeah, yeah. That's incredible, man. Like you could just jump, literally walk into the water, snorkel on, and hang out with those turtles. It's an amazing experience. I went kite surfing as well. Which was a lot of fun, and I'll wrap up the podcast with this. I'll tell you, I had a fun experience actually in Aruba. So I went out for some drinks, and then I wanted to go back to my to the place where I was staying, and so I was staying in the north of the island, and I was I was going I went to a bar like close where all the bigger hotels were. It's probably like it would be like an hour walk. It's only like 10 minutes with a taxi. But then
Yeah.
it started raining, and there was lockdown at the time. Like after, I can't remember what time it was, either 10 or 11. I
Yeah.
can't remember. But anyway, like I was in the hotel lobby, and I was trying to get a taxi, and I couldn't get any. Like, the security guard was telling me like, yeah, no, the lockdown starts in like 10 minutes or something, and like, taxis are not coming out anymore at this time. And I was like, oh, I was like, how do I get back to my place? Right. And I think my phone wasn't working, or my phone was like dead. And I was just like, oh my God, like I've I messed up here. Like I'm probably gonna have to walk back. and it's past lockdown time, so who knows, like maybe the police will like arrest me or something. I don't know. I don't know the island very well, so I just started walking, and within a few minutes a car stopped, right? And this guy opens up his window, and he asking me like, where are you going, and I told him like, oh, I'm staying at this place up in the north of the island, but I can't find a taxi. And he's like, oh man, just get in the car, and he just drove me home.
Yeah.
That's the type of island it is. Like, it's a small community, and everyone's just cool and everyone's friendly.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what Aruba stands for. We're very safe. It's a happy island. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of activities. So, I recommend Aruba to anyone that wants to visit. You guys can go on vacationaruba.com if you want to stay in an alternative accommodation. If not, you're more than welcome. That island has so many options. I'm sure everyone will have a fantastic vacation.
Yeah, for sure. I can vouch for that too. Anyway, so yeah, if you want to check out Alex's business, vacationaruba.com, very very great URL, awesome URL to have. But yeah, that's all his houses are listed on that website. So and yeah, again, highly recommend it. It's a little paradise.
Thank you so much for the invitation, Jasper.
Alex, thank you so much. Been really fun talking to you and to the listeners. Thanks for listening. And on Friday, of course, Eric and I will be back with an episode of STR Conversations of the Get Paid for Your Pet podcast. And with that said, have a great week, everybody, and see you next time.